Hello, everybody. Jimmy Williams with my boss Joe Gehring next to me, and we're doing another ATS Live, which we really love doing this, guys. I personally enjoy being able to come to you guys live and tell you about some things that are going on at ATS, maybe educate you a little bit. We've had a lot of updates over the last couple months, which has been, I think, really huge for you, the driver. But we're going to talk about a couple things tonight about pay, about what you can experience, flatbed versus company van, company drivers versus lease. We're going to go through the whole mix of things tonight, just so that we're hoping there's a segment of drivers out there right now that are going to be joining us that aren't ATS drivers. Now, we want our ATS drivers to be on. We want to say hello, chime in with questions and things like that. But I'm just excited to be here again. I think it just creates an open dialogue to show you guys that we'll put the elephant on the room, right? And we'll put it on the table and we'll talk about it. So great to be with you again, Joe.
Well, Jimmy, thanks for making your drive down to meet me tonight.
Yep.
Folks, ATS Live, first thing I've always got to call out, by the way, hey, Robbie, and how you doing, Chad? Welcome back again this week, buddy. You're starting to become a groupie for me. I'm loving it. And Samantha, of course. Samantha, come on and introduce yourself. You just took a bite of dinner. So Samantha's got us running live here, but we do have smart young folks making sure that if technical problems happen, we get them fixed really quick.
Old folks, we don't know how to do that.
But really important, number one, thank you to the drivers, ATS drivers, non-ATS drivers checking out ATS. We've been doing this now for well over 3 months. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. is our commitment. And our main purpose to do this is because as long as we're getting questions, when we call this ATS Live Ask Us Anything, talk to a couple of drivers today that are making some decisions about whether they're going to come to ATS or they're going to make another choice with another carrier. We get a lot of comments about the transparency. There's no value in Anderson Trucking trying to blow smoke to tell you the things that we think you want to hear to have you get here and to find out that they're not what you were looking for. So folks, tonight, we've been spending a lot of time on paying attention to what probably the top 80 to 85% of questions that we get from almost every driver. And it goes in this order. So it's in the screen on the other side. So as we're getting questions in, we will talk about anything that you guys ask. But if we have time in between, what we're going to spend time talking about are the 3 biggest questions we get, which is pay, and getting through the detail of what that means, talking about what our hiring experience and requirements are, what kind of experience ATS is looking for, and why that's important to us. And I think the third, we have quite a few of them, but home time is always another big thing that comes up for us. So we're going to spend time talking about those main 3 things. So, and folks, if your questions are something different about that, and William Hudson, you just came on. Thank you for joining us tonight. But you're saying experience or new drivers. I'm talking about experience of any driver applying to Anderson Trucking. So William, to make sure I'm being really clear on that, ATS does not take students. We don't have a training program for students. Our bare bone minimum requirements. And I'm kind of going backwards, so I was talking about pay, experience requirements, and then home time. But since you've asked the question, William, for the minimum amount that we require is we have to get 6 months of verified over-the-road solo experience for any driver for us to be considered. And that's the bare bone. We like to see more than a solid year, and frankly, we'd like to see a solid year with one carrier to really fit into what we're looking for. We don't want to be the company that people are starting with. We're more of that experienced company where our safety rating, folks, is second to none. And Jimmy, I'm going to spin it over to you in a couple seconds here. But when you look at it, the earnings that we're going to talk about and the money that our drivers are making today, and that's why, Chad, I love it when you join us and some of the other drivers that are going to be joining us tonight. The bottom line is that our drivers are making more money today than they've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And it's not only because the freight is good, but we've got a great freight base of customers.
Correct.
And Jimmy, I'm going to catch up because we've actually got a number of questions coming up. But William, I'm hoping I answered your question on the experience or new drivers. And as like any company, the drivers that continue to grow their experience with us, that's why our career path is such a big deal, especially on the flatbed specialized side, because we'll grow you from a 5-axle combination all the way up to a 19-plus axle combination based on what experience and safety records you bring on board with us.
Absolutely. And to talk about the experience level too, guys, that helps us build our customer base, right? Joe hit on our safety record. It's off the charts. We don't just hire anybody. Joe mentioned you got to have bare bones a minimum of 6 months. We do like to have, we do love to have the fact if you get a year of over-the-road experience, because then that opens the door for you, the driver, right? If you've got 6 months, you can come over here and be a company flatbed or van driver. If you've got a year of verifiable over-the-road, now we're talking about company, but we'll also talk about lease. What are the driver's goals? Are the driver's goals is to maybe do a lease, maybe afraid to do it just yet? We'll educate you on our fabulous lease program, which I think is second to none in the industry. With how we do our pay percentage, how we do our guaranteed fuel surcharge. There's a lot of things that we do differently for lease purchase, but then a lot of things we do differently as company. And I want to talk about company just for a second. Joe hit on the fact that we don't do training. Again, that helps build our customer base because, drivers that are first in the, coming out into it, you're going to back into a pole or you're going to back into something. Yeah, you're learning, right? Hopefully when you come over here, you kind of got your nose wet and you're kind of doing the things you need to do correctly, right? Our customer base will see that, and hence why we're able to pay the money that we're able to pay. I want to go back a couple years, okay? The Andersons came to us in July of 2018 and said to us in recruiting and said to Joe, hey, we're testing a program we call Upside Pay, right? So we tested this program for 6 months, and back then it was 24% of the line haul.
23%.
23%, or your base CPM miles. The industry laughed. There's no way ATS is paying 65. Well, from February of 2019 up until May 3rd of 2021, our drivers were making 65 cents a mile, got a raise to 75. That, you guys, it speaks volumes to me, to you, the driver, of the commitment that the Andersons have for you, the driver.
Yep.
Could other carriers be paying more? Sure they could, right? Anderson backs it up. Scott Anderson and the whole Anderson family, you're the one sacrificing, right? We've talked about the home time. Joe and I talk a lot about the three-legged stool, right? So you're the one sacrificing. The company drivers, even the lease purchase drivers, it's off the charts good right now at ATS. We only see it getting better, but I think we need to talk more about why we're able to pay the 75 cents, and it's because of our customer base.
And I do want to say we've got a lot of folks that are chiming in, and so glad to see all of you guys on board. Kyle, how you doing, buddy? Jeff, been a while since I've seen you. Thanks for joining us today. And I see that we asked the question where you guys are tuning in from. I'm just really glad that you guys are pulled over, driving safe. If you're cruising down the road on Bluetooth, just do me a favor. Your safety is way more important than this ATS live event. So just stay safe. And Noah, I think obviously we've done some talking on prior ATS live events, and fantastic to finally have you.
Him and Noah, hello. You remember talking to the ATS travel line? That was me.
He was your travel agent.
We talked quite a bit this weekend. I'm glad you're here, sir. And I told you that over the weekend. Welcome to ATS.
And Karen Scott, bottom line is I know your name. I was actually just looking at your file, which is not a negative thing whatsoever, but we spent a lot of time in every driver's file coming, so we're excited about having you coming on board. So getting into a couple of these things, Bo says, I've tried to get on, but suppose too many jobs when I've worked for some companies, I wish I could come over. So I got to be honest with you, Bo, probably one of our biggest disqualifications isn't moving violations, isn't preventable accidents. We do get concerned. When we see applications and we just see drivers that are moving around every 3 to 4 months, that's a big flag for us. Now, we know that there's a lot of companies that lie, and you don't know that till you get there. But we do need to see some longevity to where good times and bad times are rolled out. So I'm sorry that we haven't been able to work things through, but just, one of the biggest things I tell a lot of folks is find that one carrier that you can trust and count on and stay with for a year. And however bad everything else looked prior to that, show a commitment of a year, and we'll be glad to reconsider some of that. And Jeff and a lot of you guys on board, I think a lot of you guys are going to obviously, back that up. I see, Robbie, you kind of, I guess you're, Robbie, I'm guessing you've been recruiting with Karen, so I appreciate you being on this.
One thing I wanted, and back to Bo's statement. Bo, I get a lot of drivers that call me and we talk through this, what you and Joe just talked about. I get a lot of drivers, it just started, been going 2 months. And what I tell them is, and I'm point blank when I tell them, right? It's going to suck, right? Six months to get the minimum qualification that ATS is looking for as a company driver. Yes, you're not going to get paid the miles you think you should be making. But if you put your nose down and do what Mr. Gehring just said and get some time at a company, Joe Gehring will, if I bring Joe Gehring the application, he's going to look at it, right? He just told you that. If you get him some time, he will look at it. Every application is a different dynamic with how a driver is and how isn't. But give your recruiter a call, and I think there's somebody was commenting on there as well. But hey, again, guys, we are tough to get into. Joe and I tell you that, yeah. Right? But once you're able to get here, right, the commitment is there from the Andersons to you.
Correct. And really quick, I got a couple of names confused there, but so thanks for kind of correcting that with Bo. And Karen, bottom line is Robbie is one of my most seasoned recruiters. All I can tell you is he's been a rock for me. I'm the old guy who's been here for over 30 years. Robbie's one of my most senior recruiters, and so very much looking forward. And we'll talk a little bit about the Yeti mug. All I can tell you is that when I get really impressed with a good question, I do give out some prizes, and obviously you've already gotten word of that. So,
do I get one?
Huh?
Do I get one?
No, you got plenty. Nice shirt you got on, right? Yeah, good deal. Hey, Noah, I do want to call out to you real quick, too. Again, these are live events, and I can't tell you how much what you said means to me because we talk a lot about the Anderson experience. Yes. And so for you to basically, and thanks for calling out to Corey, because unfortunately our orientation group, they've got a big job to really, sometimes it feels like a fire hose with everything we've got to cover with you guys, but we've got, I've got a philosophy. We got one chance to get your guys' attention, and your onboarding experience from your experience with your recruiter to did it all come true when you got to orientation? Were you treated? So Jimmy referred to the three-legged stool. One of those legs of the stool is respect. And when a driver comes to our orientation, we want them to have an experience that they've never had before. Exactly. And so for you to call that out, and I'll make sure I pass this on to Corey, but thank you very much for the acknowledgement that everything did go in your favor.
The glass palace, he called it. I call it the mothership. But just real quick, it's open door. Noah, if drivers, you're seeing what his comment that he made, and we're not joking when we say this, right? It's an open door. When you get over to, this is called East, where we're at our yard. When you get over to corporate headquarters, you want to walk up and talk to anybody, you can walk up and talk to anybody. It's that open, and I'm glad you were able to experience that, Noah. I think I share that with every driver that's coming in. I know all my recruiting teammates do the same thing. So That's awesome.
Hey, and Lewis, real quick, I almost went by you too quick. Sorry about that. So you'd asked about the 70 cents per mile. I'm not sure where 70 came from. What I will tell you is that when we first started for our company drivers, that our average earnings across our entire fleet was over 65 cents. Today, that number doesn't drop under 75 cents. And we've been adding up just the numbers we're getting right now. So to give you an idea of the range, we obviously have company drivers, and then we've got independent contractors. And with the rates that we're getting from our customers right now, our company drivers doing 5-axle, brand new to Anderson Trucking, brand new to flatbedding. Maybe you have 6 months or a year experience pulling a 53-foot van, and you just started pulling flatbed for Anderson Trucking. That 75 cents is what you're making. The brand new van driver, that only has 6 to 12 months experience, and they come pulling vans, yeah, they're all still making 75 cents.
Yep.
Our contractors, and probably most important thing, Lewis, is this. What does that equal? So our company drivers today, over on our 70 percentile, they're making over $1,500 a week. Our 20 percentile, a lot of those guys are making $2,400 to $2,500 a week, and they're still 5-axle drivers. Our contractors, those numbers, right now, our contractors that are coming in, they've got the 1 year with one carrier experience, and they come on board with our lease program. We're paying 65% of our transportation revenue. We pay 100% of the fuel surcharge, and our range right now, people don't believe it, but the range right now that we're seeing anywhere between $2,200 and about, some drivers are actually doing over $4,000 a week after all fixed expenses. I'd rather say between $2,500 and $3,500 conservatively after all fixed expenses. That's your truck payments, that's your fuel, that's your maintenance funds, and so on. So hopefully that answers your question. And I'm going to get caught up here. Chad, you're saying the 24 didn't really show benefits. This 28, I just said, wow, it raised my personal gross pay substantially. 100%, Chad. Listen, for you guys that are active Anderson drivers, I got to tell you, you guys, the proof is in the pudding. I think you see that.
It's it on your settlement checks.
Well,
absolutely.
The Anderson family is doing incredible things, especially with the rates we're getting today, to make sure that our company drivers are also having the opportunity of capitalizing on the earnings that we're getting right now. So we support our company drivers no different than we support our contractors. And I'm going to tell you right now, our goal is to whatever seat is right for you. Your success is what matters to us. Some people want to just do 5-axle van freight. Some folks say, hey, my goal is career path to get up to pulling those 19-axle. Everybody's unique.
Double schnabel.
Contractors, some folks just don't want the headaches of managing their own business. And if their truck goes down, they want to be put up in a hotel and be paid to wait for the truck to get done.
Yep.
It's all the trade-offs, you guys. And so, all right, we are falling behind here a little bit.
It's all good. It's all
Jimmy,
good.
so you talk for a few minutes so I can read through a few more of these.
Exactly. And so we've talked about what type of person would be a good fit for the lease program, right? And I get a lot of questions like that, and I think it's on an individual basis. Joe hit on a lot of them right there, where are you going to be able to manage your time? You're going to be able to manage your clock. You're going to be able to manage your freight. Guys, we've got an entire team right over at the mothership, I call it, hundreds of guys and gals that are dedicated as your support staff to be able to take all the things off of your plate and help you manage them. If you're truly a little bit skittish about the lease purchase, we will talk you through it. You will meet these people face to face, as Noah did today, right? There's just many things that are going on that I hear from drivers every day. I talk to 100 drivers a day, and the things that they share with me, I'm amazed at that's happening to them at the company, because I know it doesn't happen here, right? I know when I tell a driver that Joe Gehring has their back, or their fleet manager has their back, or Nicole or Lori or Blake or Samantha, that they have your best interest in mind, guys, whether you're company, whether you're an independent contractor. So what makes a good fit? It's all about the driver's goals, right? Call me, call your recruiter. Let's hear what your goals are. Ask every one of my drivers, where do you see yourself in 2 years? Where do you see yourself in 4 years? Right? Is it going to be a company? That's awesome. I've got a company driver I hired. He's still a class 3 driver. We have class 4, 3, 2, 1, right, in our flatbed specialized. He doesn't have the confidence going in. Awesome. We need drivers that want to run 13.9 wide, 13.9 tall, right? So we've got the career path in the flatbed specialized for company, but we also have a defined career path, I believe, also flatbed, also dry van. Guys, if you're interested at all in working a little bit harder and doing flatbed, wind energy, heavy haul, right? That's two of our big, I call them, put them up on the pedestal up here. That's a big goal to try to get to, right? You could come here with zero flatbed experience, and we will train you and we will pay you to get through our programs 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it might be. As Joe said, you could be pulling a 19 axle trailer. We got millions of dollars sitting back here. I was amazed when we did our Facebook or when we did that barbecue, just the amount of commitment that the Andersons make in not just for the drivers but our customers.
Right.
We got the trailers to pull it.
Hey, and I'm going to get caught up on a couple of the messages. So again, we call this Ask Us Anything. So Karen, I see you asking a number of questions. I guarantee you that your recruiter, Robbie, will call you to make sure that every question is answered. But to give you a quick answer, we don't want, our old requirement used to be no more, you had to have one solid year with one company over the road verified to be able to qualify for a lease over the road. We allow on occasion a total of 2 carriers, but it has to be 12 consecutive months and a very good clean driving record for the lease. So, and then Greg, thank you for the comment about our Porter office. Corey runs our orientation up here in St. Cloud for our contractors. So Greg, obviously you came on board as a company driver down in Porter. We're very proud of that new facility that we just built brand new and the staff that we've got there. And Sam, Chad won a mug, and he's saying he still hasn't got it. So could you write down the name Chad Schultz? And he was supposed to get a mug mailed to him, and he's saying he still hasn't gotten it.
I'll look into it.
Fantastic. So, Chad, thanks for letting me know. I assume those things get done after I'm done with these things, and maybe the mailroom screwed it up. We're not sure. But and then Karen, again, you've got a number of good. I'm glad Robbie asked you to join because your questions are going to answer a lot of other people's questions as well.
Absolutely.
So, do you have classes or courses on fuel savings, first year, first time leases? So we have the only 1 year, no money down, no credit check. We have a 1 and a 2 year lease option between our flatbed and our van divisions. And the reason we have these with really no skin in the game for a new driver like yourself is because after you complete that first lease, we're hoping that we've trained you to be a very successful independent contractor to where when you get that completion bonus, you're putting that money as a down payment into a long-term for the truck that you're picking out that you want to own at the end of that lease. But do we have courses? That one of the biggest things we do is not only do we train you while you're here, but we've got resources galore when it comes to fuel savings, when it comes to managing your idle time, all of those things. We have an ATS driver app, and if any of our active drivers want to chime in here a little bit for Karen, please do. But if you ask, we will deliver. There are some things that we teach everybody, but if you ask for some education, there's nobody's going to drop everything quicker to give you some courses, some recommendations of what to look into, third-party resources to help you manage it. So
That's a great question.
Very good question.
That's a really good question.
Jimmy, so some of these things, as far as the experience at home time, why don't you, while I'm catching up on some of these comments and we'll come back to them, why don't you talk a little bit about on the home time side?
Very good, very good. You've heard us say the 3-legged stool: money, home time requests, and communication and commitment. Home time. If you call your fleet manager, tell your fleet manager on Tuesday you got to be home Friday, that's putting everybody in a pickle, right? If you can have good communication with your fleet manager, if you have to be home for a doctor's appointment, a baseball game, a dance recital, whatever it is, if it's 2 weeks down the road, you will be home, right? You will get home when you need to be home, right? It's the drivers, and I have drivers that I didn't get home. I said, well, when did you ask your fleet manager? Well, I asked them Monday I had to be home. Well, you have to be proactive in the fact, right, that, hey, you've got freight set up that's on your back ready to be delivered. It's hard just to kind of to take a left and get you home, right? But as long as you are being committed, right, with your fleet manager and have an open dialogue and open communication and respect, we can 100% assure you that your home time requests will be met. You will be home when you need to be home.
And I want to follow up on a discussion I had with a driver. So a new driver came on board with us, been with us for about, I don't know, 4 months, something like that. And by the way, hey, Don, thanks for the call out. And Jeff, want to tell you, thank you as well. Jeff, you and I know each other. And the reality is, we'll talk a little bit more about our open door policy, but thanks for the comment about that, because I worked directly for Raleigh for my first 22 years. and now his son is my boss. But the open door policy here at Anderson Trucking is second to none. And Jeff, thanks for acknowledging that. And bottom line, thanks for the 15 years you've been with us.
Absolutely.
But this conversation I had this morning, it's about home time. And so Anderson Trucking is an over-the-road trucking company. We've got a couple of pockets for regional work, but the majority, 95% of our drivers, they're going to be out 2 weeks at a time. And if the lifestyle is, hey, I'm cool being out 2 weeks at a time, and for every week out, I get to stay home for a day and a half, and that money and that earnings will stay, a steady flow. Now listen, you find out that you've got a couple of week vacation you want to take, you either plan for it, or you just realize that when you take that time in addition, that the income's not going to be flowing through the house. So it's not really about planning it. But for us, if your style is, hey, I'm out for 2 weeks, home for 3 days, I'm out for 3 weeks, home for 4.5 days, you can keep doing the math however you want to. But that is the recipe. And listen, there's going to be times when you get to sneak through the house with the load on occasion. But we'd rather have that be a plus. We're not going to try to put that into our pitch. But of course, there's going to be time that you're getting dispatched and you get that extra day or one of your 10-hour resets through the house. Well, we can't tell you exactly the frequency of what that's going to be. So for the home time, when you're out there running, the communication is everything, like Jimmy was saying. You tell your fleet manager. So we've talked about the three-legged stool probably 5 times now. I don't know that we said what it means. It is pay, it is meeting drivers' home time requests, and it is respect. There's all these questions that we said we're covering today, but when we talk about the three-legged stool, we know you guys got to be making money, but when you put in a request for home time, we will meet that request. And then the third thing is always treat drivers with respect. And the respect thing simply goes both ways.
Just going to say that it's got to be a two-way street. It's got to be that two-way street. And I've got this been asked this before. Will drivers be alone as soon as they're hired? Yes. There's no trainer sitting next to you, right? You've got to have that 6 months of experience. With that 6 month of verified experience, right? We're not going to micromanage, but right, if you're new to flatbedding, right, we have a photo program, right, where that we want you to send a picture to your fleet manager of the load that you had. Again, it's training. Connect the dots, connect the I's, A, B, C, D, make sure the pinch points are right, do this and that. It's just, again, it's something that is new for the flatbed drivers, right? You could be a little bit overwhelmed because you didn't know all that was going to be required of you. Yeah. Just understand this, flatbedders. We got the people behind you to help you get through that, right? If there's you got to raise your hand, and if you're down in Porter, Sam Conley, Sam, raise your hand, and Sam will give you the one-on-one attention that you need.
Terry,
absolutely.
Hey, really quick. So, Lewis, bottom line is that you're making a comment about the nice wages. I appreciate that. So I want to make sure that everybody's clear. Some of the wages that I'm covering right now, that is for the brand new 3-axle, 2-axle trailer driver. As you move up in class and as you build from a 5-axle combination, then you move up to a 6-axle, then you start moving up to a 11-axle, then a 13-axle, then I'll go all the way to a 17 and a 19-axle. Every one of those steps is a pay raise, and even for our brand new Class 4 driver. So the classification for a brand new, inexperienced flatbed driver, you start as a Class 4. You get promoted to a Class 3, so that's promotion 1, a Class 2, which is promotion 2, a Class 1, and then a Class 1A. And then you can move into a 4-axle truck and start building up to the 13-axle, the 17-axle, the 19-axle. So, Lewis, just so you're clear on that, and I'm thinking that maybe you've got...
Go ahead. Kevin's question. You missed the start of this, Kevin? No, one year experience, that will qualify for you lease purchase. If you have 1 year experience, that will also qualify you for being a company flatbed or van driver. It's the minimum requirement is 6 months. I'll repeat that one more time. The minimum requirement right now at ATS is 6 months verifiable OTR. If you have a year, that just opens the door up for either a lease purchase if that's a goal, or the company driver as well. But again, great question. I just wanted to hit on that.
Yep, and Jeff, I see that you hit that. So 6 months verified's key.
Yeah.
6 months verified over the road experience, and that's just so we know that you understand the lifestyle. To become a company driver.
Yep.
12 consecutive months between no more than 2 carriers to qualify for our lease program. And of course, you got to be in our hiring area and all that good stuff. But great, guys, great, fantastic question. And I love it when we can't even stay on track on our discussion points. Appreciate everybody who's taking the time to join us. 13 and 19 are going to be out for a long time, but excellent money. 100% correct.
Absolutely.
Listen, our heavy haulers, sometimes our heavy haulers could be out 2 months, and then they might take an entire month at home. The more exclusive you get in the skill set, the project freight that you're going to get into, it's kind of a different animal. But the folks that are working that direction, and Louis, I appreciate you bringing it out there, the money is stellar. I mean, we got drivers making twice as much as doctors. But the point is, first you got to get there to where that option becomes an option for you. So very important for me to not fall behind on the comments, because our ATS live sessions are Ask Us Anything. So our goal is to make sure that we don't miss any of your questions. So Kevin, you'd asked any recommendations on where to start to get those 6 months. I'm located in Texas. I will tell you that we will message you, and I'll be glad to call you personally, but one of my recruiters will reach out to you, Kevin. I'm not going to call out other carriers' names.
No.
It depends upon what you want to get into. I've got some recommendations of some quality flatbedding companies if flatbedding is what you're looking to get into, because I'd rather bring you on board with some flatbed experience, because then you move along the chain quicker. If pulling a box is what you're looking for, I can give you some great recommendations of pulling a 53-foot trailer. There are companies that we have a lot of respect for. We call them friendly competitors that really do pay attention to safety, really do want to have the success of their drivers. We don't believe that anybody's as good as we are, but
Exactly right.
But that's the fact. So, and Don, by the way, somebody up there, does anybody know what this means from Lewis? SPMT. Is that an acronym where an old guy doesn't?
He's a heavy hauler.
So I apologize. I don't have a clue what that means. So, Lewis, my name is Joe, and Samantha, go ahead and put my email up there if you don't mind. For anybody who's watching now or after the fact, again, I'm the Vice President of Recruiting here at Anderson Trucking. I'm in my 31st year. I've got the easiest email at ATS. It's Joe, Joe, at ATSINC.com. I really want anybody who's watching today, and frankly speaking, this goes, Lewis, for you. There's obviously a couple of other folks that, like Kevin, if you got some additional questions on the experience and so forth, feel free to give me an email. You may not hear back from me like right away, but you will hear back from me. So anyway, Kevin, great question on that, and we'll get you some answers. Donald, you're recommending Maverick. Anybody out there can go ahead and throw anything that they want to. I personally, I stick to talking about Anderson Trucking during these things. But if Don, if you're saying that you had a good experience, we hire a lot of good Maverick drivers. We hire a lot of good TMC drivers. We hire a lot of good daily drivers, prime drivers. If the safety record follows it, we are looking for the companies that really take safety serious, to be honest with you.
No, exactly right. A couple other things, that I just wanted to hit on real quick. In regards to the home time, right? How does staying out longer benefit the driver, right? I've been asked that. All your loads have to be scanned in by Sunday at 9 p.m. here at ATS, right? I tell every driver, if you can find your home time timing around Sunday at 9, maybe you can stretch your clock, right? With that aspect of being there at 9 o'clock. But the benefits, what are the requirements at home? What does the home time need to be for the family, right? These are great questions that we, meaning me, Robbie, John, Paul, Holly, Patrick, we'd love to talk to you about, right? There's not a question we won't answer. There's not a question we're not afraid to answer. I think that is just a great question. How long does it benefit drivers? I got a driver that stays out 4 months at a time. I call him and go home, right? You're on the road for 4 months. I get that. That's his lifestyle. That's what the driver wants to do, and I love him for it, right? But still, that being said, over-the-road truck driving is a different lifestyle, right? And what we want to do as Joe and I and us recruiters today, we want to educate you on just what you can expect at ATS right? You're going to come to me and you're going to come to Joe and you're going to come to ATS and you're going to take advantage of our customer base. I bring it all the way back to the customer base because, guys, that's why we're paying 75 cents a mile, right? That's why the lease numbers are off the charts. It's because our customer base believes in Anderson Trucking. We believe in our drivers. We show the commitment to our drivers. I said it at the beginning. There's other carriers. They all could be paying you more money if you're at another carrier.
Yep.
Come to a company that truly values your sacrifice on the road. We'll show you the commitment once you get here. Some of the drivers have already mentioned it in the side there, but I think it's so important to understand we're not going to fluff it. We're not going to shake things. We're not going to shake a tree and expect money to fall, right? These are the commitments we're going to ask from you, the driver. And if you've got the 6 months, if you've got the year, by all means, we definitely want to hear from you.
Yep. And I'm going to catch up on a couple of things. And Dan, bottom line, is looking forward to seeing you as well. You guys, just probably one of the most important things for me to say is this. And Samantha, who's over here with me, I remember the day that she started. Sam's in our marketing department, but we talk about the things that matter to our drivers. Mm-hmm. And she was one of the first ones that actually made a statement of saying everything matters. Well, you can't say everything, but at the end of the day, it really does. Making a living for you guys, making money is a no-brainer, but it's not always the most important thing. It's the full company experience. And I got to be honest, Noah, I saw your comment down below there. Willie, by the way, congratulations on already moving up to Class 2 and working toward getting toward the blades. 100% the success stories that we're looking for. And Kevin, I'm actually going to make a note of that. That's not a bad idea. I can't say that in all of our years we've ever tried to partner with another carrier to help them, since we are not going to do the initial training up front. That's a great idea.
That is a really good idea.
And that might have just earned you a Yeti mug, but Chad, you'll still get yours. But Noah, what a huge thing that you just said out there. My friend Jim Anderson is a friend of mine, and Jim Anderson is the number one by far remembered person within the entire onboarding process. And he has been since I've been in charge of recruiting for the last 9 years. He is a man that is not forgettable, and you need to believe everything. And the cool part is, the Anderson family, the more you get to know all of them, they all follow the same values. And so thanks for calling that out, because it is what builds who we are as an organization. So
I want to just hit on that too, because that's important. And Noah, I really value you doing that too. The first person I met was Joe Gehring when I got here. The second person I met when I came to ATS was Jim Anderson. And I had a 15 to 20 minute conversation with Mr. Anderson my first day of employment, and it changed my life, right? The man is simply just an incredible person. I knew right then that I was in the place that I'm supposed to be at. Noah, I think you just did too. That is a huge, huge testament. And again, thank you for that. So, Willie Martin, that's awesome, man. You're flying through the classes. And guys, see, there again, that's what, when Joe said earlier, read through the comments. Some of your questions might get answered. But, if you're a flatbed driver, you can get through the classes pretty quickly. Things have to fall right for you. You have to have the confidence. You have to, maybe Willie had some experience, but, it is what it is. And for us, for me and Joe, for John and Robbie, for, Patrick and Holly, this is what we do, guys, right? This is what I am so passionate about, this little badge on my chest, because I know what you're going to receive when you get here.
Yep.
Right? You've got to trust me to get here, but I know what's waiting for you when you open those doors over, as when Noah called it, the glass palace, the mothership. It's something you've never experienced in trucking. I can assure you of that.
Hey, you guys, I want to let you guys know something. So we have a lot of, at the beginning of this, I always say thank you to our active drivers that participate, because you guys are the ones out there doing this. So these two used car salesmen in here could tell you anything you want to know in a video. But when I've got drivers, and Don, you've been with us for a while, and you're wondering how to move up to a Class A, I'm going to just reach out to you personally. But frankly speaking, Don, you got to keep going from the 4, 3, 2, 1, 1A, and
5 qualifying loads.
But really quickly is to tell you that dealing with your fleet manager, and if your fleet manager you don't feel like it's going quick enough, that's why I gave my email out earlier. I'll be glad to give you a couple of pointers on the drivers that I've seen make that transition the quickest. But folks, I got to also remind you that some of it sometimes depends upon the freight that's in our system.
Exactly.
We get inundated with overdimensional freight for a while, and then all of a sudden, listen, if we can get you paid the same amount of money and we're keeping it legal versus having to pull OD for the same amount and the rates we're getting today, frankly, we're actually pushing away some overdimensional freight right now because the rates that we're getting on legal loads are at or better than what we're getting on some of the overdimensional freight. So there's always that balancing act a little bit. So, but Willie, thanks for jumping in there as far as talking about the classes. John, thank you very much for the call out. And we love doing this. We especially love doing this when we have these kind of questions coming. And, so Dominic, it looks like obviously coming back as a rehire back in September. I actually know your story, but I'm really, really glad to hear that you're coming back. Go ahead.
I want to take that question, Adrian's question on the bottom.
Okay.
So, great question, by the way, Adrian. I get this question every day, right? Why does about every other company pay 75 to 80% and y'all pay 65? If you're getting paid anything over 70% as your line haul for that, it's a brokered freight. It's a brokered load, right? We're giving you 65% of the contract that we negotiated with John Deere, right? That we've negotiated with our customer base. You're taking full advantage of the line haul, Adrian, at the contracts that we have in place, where a lot of companies have to pay you or say they're going to pay you 75, 73, 80% of the load because they're working off of a brokered load board.
So,
right?
And actually, I'm going to correct a little bit of that, Jimmy.
Okay.
The number one reason, Adrian, and I love the question.
I do too.
And it's a super, super one to answer, but I can tell you right now that our 65%, and you take a look at the fixed expenses that we have, so, plates permit, no trailer rental, the permitting and the settlement process, the higher the percentage you're getting paid means that the company that's paying you that 75 to 80% is actually charging you for more things. And so I would challenge you. And again, my email is in the email here. It's right above your question, actually. It's the joe@atsinc.com. I'll be glad to sit down and crunch the numbers with you, and it will spell it out completely. Because at the end of the day, the truck is still getting paid X amount of dollars. The question is what are you as the owner-operator truly making? Whether you're leasing a truck, whether you're bringing your own truck that you own on board, the percentage, our independent contractors that are out there making 65%, I'll stack them against most of the folks that are getting paid 75 and 80% because all of the other expenses need to be fully disclosed.
Exactly.
Trailer rentals, like I said, are a huge thing. The permits, licenses, there's so many expenses that are pushed your way that you've got to go cover. That's included in our numbers. But again, this really requires a discussion, Adrian, but I'm hoping I answered your primary part of the question, okay?
I love the question. And like Joe just said, transparency, right? We're going to tell you why. We're going to give you the reasons why this is happening. A lot of other carriers aren't going to do that, right? And we'll take the time to do that. I love that question because I hear it on a daily basis. And thank you for that question too, or answering it that way, because it now tripped my train of thought to explain it that way too.
Yep. No, it's the number one thing. The higher percentage that you're getting paid, it means that you're getting additional expenses that you're not getting with us. It really is as simple as that. And Don, you got a lot of questions. I think you and I should connect, Don, especially since some of yours is about you've been on board and the path of getting. But I can tell you right now, the blade training continues to be strong. Blades are just a commodity to me, Donald. I know that we've got a lot of drivers that go on to that freight and has been stuck to that. Some of them stay on it for a year or better. But to me, it's still just a commodity. And when the blades slow down, we want to make sure that we just hook you to another trailer and get you moving on other types of freight. So, but I've heard of no slowing down in any kind of the training when it comes to schnabel training, when it comes to blade training, when it comes to multi-axle training. All of those classes are right on pace. The only thing that I've not heard about is when we're getting our annual in-person back to where I can start seeing all your guys' faces again.
This guy knows every single ATS driver, and I mean that. I've been working from home, but I used to love sitting outside his office and driver after driver after driver after driver after driver, roll tide, that, and it's just, the commitment that this man has, it rubs off on me.
Can you tell he works for me?
Well, it's not blowing it. It rubs off on me. It rubs off on Robbie. It rubs off on our entire team. The passion we have for you, the driver, guys. It's not a used car salesman pitch. We're just going to present you the facts, right? These are the facts that you're going to experience. These are the ups and the downs, right? It's trucking, right? Is stuff going to go sideways? It is. I almost said the S word. But that being said, it is what it is. We will put the elephant on the table. Yeah. Let's have a conversation about it, and away we go from there. And
by the way, Adrian, I'm glad you've already commented back again. So I'm glad that answered your question. I just really wanted to make sure that I'm not trying to sidestep, but it typically is as simple as that. So but if you'd like to dig in a little bit more, I am a guy that really wants to make sure, especially on the contractor side, that we can peel that onion back. So everybody is really clear what does it take to truly be successful as a contractor, and what to expect, because we do have a lot of folks that come on board that have never done the independent contractor gig before.
Yep.
And we work really hard to make sure that you get trained on that very good to be successful at it. So Dominic, thanks for the note. When you said facts, Joe, I'm hoping you're saying you're like hearing the facts. Maybe I need to give more facts. I'm not sure what you're on. And Be There Money, Don, fantastic. And Chad, I've been hearing a whole lot of folks that are saying that they can't wait to get annual in person going again. But
is that happening?
Well, so listen.
There's discussion.
I'm not going to get into COVID talk. The problem is that with this new variant coming out and everything else, who knows what our nation is going to put us through. So, long story short, we're kind of doing this for everybody's safety. And we are following the recommendations to keep all of our staff in the building safe, and to keep all of our new drivers that are coming in through our office or through orientation also safe. So, no, when I come to the palace, do I just roam, or will somebody show me around? So I will tell you right now, you have to sign in through safety, and then that's your choice. You want to find stuff yourself, you can roam around all you want to, just don't walk into the wrong bathroom. If you would like to get a tour, I personally volunteer, Noah.
John Hayes.
To come downstairs and meet you in the safety room after you've signed in. And I'll walk you through and introduce you to the Andersons. I'll come down and show you the entire recruiting department, walk you through and let you see the entire operation setup. So you come up to our corporate office. I personally volunteer to do that. And if I don't, I'll find, in case I'm busy, I'll make sure that one of my recruiters is available to give you a hand. All right?
I would like to hit on one more thing, you guys. Joe and I do this a lot, but we wanted to kind of stick with, the pay and how that is really kind of increasing for you, the driver. I haven't talked about, the guaranteed pay, right? This again, guys, it to me, when the Andersons rolled it out, I was amazed. You're going to come to a company with 6 months experience, right? You're a little bit skittish, you're a little bit, nervous about how things are going to work. Yes, you're going to be making 75 cents a mile pulling the box down the road, or a flatbed specialized. But for your first 12 weeks of being here, right, there's a guaranteed pay structure for you to learn, right? And if something happens, you've got the guarantee. There's not a lot of companies that I even know of, right, that are offering a guaranteed pay. Nonetheless, not even outside of trucking, but inside of the trucking world. And it to me, it completes the circle. Right, it completes the circle of the commitment to you, the driver, that the Andersons are making with the home time request, with the pay, with the customer base. Now we're guaranteeing your pay. Heck, we announced we have a pet policy. There's so many things that have been exciting for us this year in 2021. Again, the Andersons have the commitment through Joe and I and our whole recruiting department, but every department here, right? It's to support you, the driver. And I just want everybody to understand, once you get here, Noah's seen it with what he's coming up here. The support staff we have for you, the driver, is incredible. But then to caveat that by saying we're going to guarantee your pay for the first 12 weeks, A lot of drivers don't really have. I haven't had many that have had to take advantage of that. Joe won. Carl Ague did when he first came on, but it was because the truck went down, right? And no fault of his own. And here it is what it is. But with all that being said, if you have questions, please call me. Please call our recruiting department. You'll see the number on there. You can call this man himself. He'll refer you back to us guys. But we want to hear from you.
Yep. And by the way, Kevin, Mr. Kevin Carter, thank you so much. Again, hearing from you guys on your experiences, we can say all we want to, but to have our drivers that are out there doing the job, chiming in, and the cool part is whether people are watching us live and interacting with us right now, or you're watching this after the fact, it's the real deal. And our ultimate goal when we started making the commitment to this is we want to embrace complete transparency no matter what the question. Correct. And frankly, I like the harder questions because it really gives me the opportunity to say, no, there is no secret sauce. It's the full package. Mm-hmm. And we got to be able to talk about it. And folks, we say no to 95% of the folks that reach out to us. So we know that we're not for everybody. But if being an over-the-road driver is what you're looking to do, and you want to come on board with a company that is wanting to basically have that retired next driver, not a rented driver. I don't care about a person coming to give us a try for 2 or 3 months. Listen, how many folks are on here that are saying we've already been here a year? Jeff, who's been here for 15 years. You guys have no idea how many times that I personally get to go to 30-year driver anniversary celebrations, 20-year driver celebrations. That's the real deal, and that's the testimony that I'm going to give to say we think that we're doing more right than wrong for sure. And will we make mistakes? Of course we will.
Yes, shocking.
But you guys, listen, we're coming up in an hour, and we got a lot of data back that says that if we keep these things going much longer than an hour, that we lose a lot of you. But fantastic engagement. So Kevin, again, thank you. Noah, 100%. And now I actually remember you doing on the touch a truck. So I'm making note of that as well.
There we go. Somebody put the line up for recruiting. There we go. That's awesome. And that's your first line in, guys. Is give us a call. Hi Terry, and give your recruiters a call. And here's what it is too: the transparency. But I tell drivers this: I will not answer a question I do not know the full answer to. I'll call him, or I call Johnny Hayes, or I call Robbie Schaefer. They're my senior staff that'll help me get through that. But if you've got the question, we're not just going to sugarcoat it, and we're not just going to answer it. We're going to make sure we get you the right answer.
And by the way, Terry, I want to say thank you for calling it out. You are absolutely correct. So Jimmy's quoted 12 weeks. That was changed to 8 weeks, and the reason so nothing has changed. So it really is only impacting new drivers coming in, but because so few drivers ever needed it, we just reduced that down to the first 2 months because it just wasn't needed because the drivers are so far surpassing. So Terry, it is an 8-week guarantee, not a 12-week, and I'm glad we were able to correct that online in real time. And let's see here. Yeah, so a lot of folks saying they're coming soon, and all I can try to tell you, and Tracy, glad to hear that thanks for letting your husband come up. And remember, we are that carrier that encourages spouses to come with if they'd like to, or a companion. The only bad news is that we can't have everybody join us for the orientation because of the social distancing. But we do. I don't know of any other carriers that say, "Hey, come on, bring your spouse with you, bring your fiance with you." It's a family decision, and so we absolutely pay the expenses to get them up, pay for their meals while they're here. The only thing I can't bring up to you right now is that having them join you for class until this stuff goes away and everybody can feel safe. You got to hang back at the hotel waiting for them to get back out of their class time. So, and for all you guys calling out how many years you got, that's why. Awesome. That's why I've been here 31 years.
I've been watching it.
That's the real deal. And so, Terry, glad to see you're keeping an eye on me. And so everybody knows, Terry is one of our superstars down in Porter that does the orientation with Sam. So if you're going to Porter, you're going to meet Terry. If you're coming up here to St. Cloud, you heard a couple drivers calling out Corey. Very proud of our staff. So, folks, I'm going to tie this off. Jimmy, thanks for coming in to do this with me again tonight.
Anytime, every time we'll do it.
We do this every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Sometimes we stay on for 30 minutes because we don't have many people watching. Tonight is one of those awesome nights to where here we are going on in an hour, and it's been pretty much nonstop. Great questions from you guys. I appreciate it. Wrapping this up, Anderson Trucking, drive the number 4ats.com. We are looking for the best of the best. And if you're really looking for that last career change, we'd love to hear from you. And we hope that we can give you an experience that you've never had before. Got a couple of drivers, especially Noah, I appreciate your calling out. Had a couple of others. I'd have to go back up. I think it was Carrie or something that was down in our Porter office saying that the experience was second to none. Folks, we will bend it over backwards, but until we get to talk to you, don't try to make your decision just on what you're reading. Give us the time to really talk through the details with you. And so, again, drive the number 4ATS. My email is on there. If I don't respond to you right away, I guarantee you that your email will get to one of my recruiters that will call you very quickly. Anything you want to say in conclusion, Jimmy?
You know what? It again, I just love doing this because it makes me a better recruiter. I've learned something tonight from Joe, right? I always do when I'm sitting next to him. But with all that being said, the commitment that the Andersons have, guys, I can't keep stressing that enough. The commitment level that your company, right, that you're going to come and work for, the commitment that they have to you, the driver, to be successful, we have the tools in place to make sure that happens. I can't wait for you to experience that.
Thank you. Yep. So again, thanks everybody. We do these for you. Reminder, if you're joining and watching this after the live session and you've got questions, we are monitoring this. So it might be a day later. Heck, you might watch this 2 days later. Share it with people that you think are looking for a possible change. Again, we do this. We love being on record. And so, frankly, that's why I like the tough questions, because I can say, go and take a look at the live session we just did last week, and it's out there. So we like being on record where you can say, see where you said it. We're always going to come back and say, yep, that's exactly what we said. So again, appreciate everybody joining us, making sure. Good night, Terry. Chad is the second. Listen, again, Chad, you become I really appreciate you taking the time to join us every Wednesday. And again, for all of our other drivers that joined us tonight, Jeff, great hearing from you again. I could just go on down the line, but just really want to say thank you a lot. And Don, you've had a lot of great things to say to and chiming in tonight with everybody. So just want to say thanks for everybody who did join us.
Noah, Adrian gets the cup. That was the best question of the night. Adrian's question was the best question.
Adrian, you are getting the cup, and I appreciate you letting us know that we answered what you had answered. So, bottom line, everybody, have a safe night. Thanks for taking some time and carving it out with us tonight, and join us next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Tell your friends. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.